get some exercise, some fresh air, some sunshine. Profits first, it's like if you relegate everything, every value in existence in your life below making a profit, bad things can happen. So you have to think things through. Like this mind, this ownership book, very interesting. Looks very interesting. It's like when you have that mindset that, Jesus, I'm going to make a buck no matter what. I don't care who I hurt, what I destroy. It's all about the money. That's the thing. America first, profits first. Some things are really part and parcel of everything, all interconnected. So you can't really have that mentality because everyone loses, including you. God, we're only going to be alive for what? If we're lucky, how long? Time flies, and you're just destroying and killing and wrecking things just to make a buck. Doesn't make any sense. But it boils down to culture and cultural values. There you go. And many other things. Daddy says there are two kinds of people in the world. People who profit first and people who get shit on. This is Italia's store. Where we can buy stuff. I gotta push a little, get the muscles going. Homestead area. Yeah, it feels good. Hip is good. Muscles need more work. Other hip. How long is that one gonna last? I may need another one. There is a flurry of farming activity. A lot of work to prepare those fields and then plant them. A lot of steps. It's gonna take me another year to get something really started. And I don't have the machines, so I have to borrow people's help. It's always abundant. Ooh, you can smell it. Fertilize it, don't criticize it. People generally pass politely on these country roads. Oh man, these fields are really nice. Yeah, you can go anywhere. It's all pretty good. I'm looking forward to getting back to the beach. It's been a long time. You can see someone practicing or just playing with kids. It's a nice pitch. Bleachers. It's well equipped. See with this camera from off in the distance, you can see the ocean. Nice view. Right over there. Really close by car. I can ride there. I love the smell of olives in the morning. It smells like a nice place to live. All the hills, everybody has a nice view. If you want a nice view, it's not hard to find. I'm going to clean my tires. There you go. Qué velocidad. Melhor. Bom dia. Turn left, turn right, it's all good. Oh, I'm gonna go back around. That's nice. This is pretty down here, this valley. Human beings create rules in society to mitigate the damaging, deleterious, horrific effects of human interaction, competition. They try to make things fair because they have to, otherwise there'd be too much violence at scale, like this, global civilization. If we go violent, there are nuclear warheads on ramjets that can hit you in a few minutes from anywhere. So we have laws and we regulate businesses to protect the environment and to protect people from unfair trade practices and so on and so forth. And when those rules are broken too much, too often, everything gets screwed. Hola, bom dia. Interesting couple. So, but some people have no moral or ethical compunctions. They have learned through experience and training or whatever, propaganda, education. Maybe they were born hyper-competitive. That, you do anything to make a buck. And if you don't, you're a chump. You're an idiot, you're a fool. Not to be respected, subhuman. The reason those people don't get rich and have empires is because they're stupid. They're inferior. But that's not true. They have a different culture. They revere and value things differently. So when the prophet's first guy comes along, again, these multipolar traps, really have to get your head around that one. Very simple. When these tough guys come in, they say, look, God told me you got to use this place. And if you don't use it and create value with it, you have no right to own it. And we really don't care about your culture because you're savages. We are the one true people of God. And indigenous cultures as well. You'll often hear that they call their tribe the people or some such thing like that, because they don't know that there's a whole world of different kinds of people living different kinds of lives. But in 2021, we should know that by now. We just take it for granted that there's Disneyland and Nike and Netflix and Man U. And we take everything for granted without thinking it through. And sometimes you ask a friend, what do you think about this? They go, I don't know, I never thought about that. I could care less. What do you mean? Why do you want to talk about it? So people just take for granted what they know and what their interests are and concerns are, and they don't bother to think about anything, which makes them very easy to control. By the prophet's first types, the psychopaths, the sociopaths. They tell you what to think, and since you haven't thought things through, you go, okay, that sounds right. I'm powerless anyway. People put garbage in rivers and oceans just because they can, and they'll make more profits. If you want to think about complex ecosystems and how important they are to our own endeavors, you're a tree hugger. You're not putting profits first. You're a fool, an idiot. You're weak. What about the banker mentality? Investment banker, hedge fund trader, they don't care about jobs. Human dignity, human rights. They don't care about anything but profits. That's their mandate. That's what they do, is make money for people. A certain class of people. So when the LBO guy comes in and rips your company apart, Gordon Gekko, there's nothing you can do. You could, if there was a union, you could go to the union, you could go to lawyers and so on, and you could try to fight, but you would lose. Because you don't own that damn business. The owners can do whatever they want with it. And if the LBO guy can make more money for his people by chopping it up and selling. Well, you know the story. Much has been written. And we get excited, you know. Look, I made money. I have this car. Profits first. Fuck you. It's okay, man. I get that. And I do understand that I'm a fool in that light because I haven't put profits first enough. And the culture is not going to evolve because we don't have the power, the agency, the wherewithal, the sense-making skills, the critical thinking skills to realize how we might band together and do something to imagine and create a different system that was a little more sustainable. People don't care about sustainability because they're going to die anyway. And nowadays, it seems a lot of people, not a majority by any stretch, but their children are just an ego trip. My daughter goes to Harvard. You've seen the documentary about paying for access to school, university. They just feel like, you know, I've got to have a family because that's what we do. And give your kid the smartphone and the key to the liquor cabinet and walk away. Let them sort it out. It's their world now. I don't know why we think like that, but so much of us do. So if you ask somebody, what comes to mind when I say profits first, I don't care what comes to mind. It's just interesting to see what comes to mind. So next time it might be, what comes to mind when you think about a hypersonic delivery system for nuclear warheads? I don't know. Maybe nothing. So it's just interesting. Voice of the people, Vox Pops. Discuss it, kind of think about it a little bit, dissect it, unpack it, run your consultant speak all over it, and hopefully your imagination that no one has to be able to follow, you know, your imagination. When I listen to Jordan Hall, it's a little bit annoying just because of his manner of communicating. And it sounds so consultant-like to me, you know? And a lot of it's not that brilliant or original. It's just kind of packaging things differently in language. Some of it's original and interesting, but anyway, at least you know there's somebody like him talking about things that are interesting to me, if not to you. Everybody has a different voice, different way of presenting things. If you're an expert in the sense that you've worked on a project or thought about a thing or learned about a thing for a long, long time, and have therefore become expert, very, very familiar in the subject. It's worth listening to people like that because, you know, they've spent decades thinking about it, working it through, doing experiments, articulating ideas related to a subject. What's wrong with that? I just don't understand why people are so anti-intellectual. And it's so much better than listening to somebody rant on about the culture wars or wokeness. How woke can you be before you go too far? You know? You can talk about structural racism without being woke. It just depends on how you do it and how far you go with it. So I can understand the utility and the necessity of profits, especially in a context of normal business. Human beings using their labor to create access to currency so that they can use that to buy goods and services that they need. That's fine. But if it goes too far, then there's no business people anymore. People suffer. And everything kind of gets trashed. Well, in the Uber Lux market, you don't have to worry because they live in a rarefied world where they can enjoy what they have and not even notice that there's anybody out there that might have been neglected or be suffering. It's like, you know, why would I care? I love that scene when American Psycho kills the homeless person. He finally figures out, what am I doing talking to this guy? I have nothing in common with him. He's nothing, he's trash. So he just kills him. This is real, man. This is what happens when you have that kind of profits first mentality. Of course, it's not one thing. A profits first mentality is a lot of things woven together. A lot of values and sets of values, hierarchies of values, stacks of values. Oh my God, stack. The stack. And it's all interwoven, it's complicated. Gotta make a profit in this business or I'll have to close it down. I can't send my kid to school, can't send him to the dentist. America first, you know, what does that mean? If it means we're gonna take care of our own people, we're gonna prioritize them, and we're gonna do that in an intelligent way in collaboration with the rest of the world, so that we actually succeed in making things better, greater, and so that who cares if you think you're great? That's an ego trip, right? Oh, I'm so fucking great. And other people look at you and say, no, you're not. While you're doing your America First project, the rest of the world is looking at you and saying, America's fucked up. It's a mess. It's crap. I used to think it was something cool. Now I just think it's a joke. And that goes on for decades. And you think you're accomplishing something when you decide to turn away from the rest of the world and be belligerent and stupid. Then you think, oh, that's going to make us great? No. It may make somebody feel good that you appear to be hard on immigrants, or you appear to be good for business. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter. It's that perception. Oh, it's all good. He's making it better. But it's a complex formula when you think about it. To be great requires a lot of things. You can imagine what it requires to be a great tennis player or whatever. A really successful entrepreneur. You know, Jeff Bezos, he's pretty great. it's really hard to get things to the scale that he's got in Amazon. Everybody knows that. He may not be the best person in the world or, share all of my Prime values. Stephen Prime, Amazon Prime. But he's fucking pretty damn great. Nothing's black and white, it's all complex. He might not treat his workers great. But what he's built is pretty great. So what do you mean by great? What do you mean by profits first? It's like, dude, it's gotta be profits first, man. Because we're in a multipolar trap. And if we don't go for it, we're gonna get snuffed out by the competition. And then me and mine are gonna suffer. And I'm responsible for me and mine. So I gotta get it. And to hell with the rest of them. This world is dog eat dog. It's a rough world. Yeah, okay, great. Good on you, matey. I understand. You got a fiduciary responsibility. And if you're the king and don't win battles and bring in land, expand the land holdings and the treasury of your kingdom, you're not going to be king for long. I'm always amazed, like the pirates of the Caribbean, those guys didn't live too long. They'd be pirates for like 5 or 6 years if they were lucky. And then they'd die in a storm, or they'd get killed by, fighting or, syphilis or something. They didn't make it very long. They'd get hung. And kings are like that too. You look at the daimyo in Japan, how long did they last? The warriors and the kings in Europe. All these wars, 30 years wars, all these different wars, so many. And kings would rise and fall based on whether they could keep all the plates spinning in the air. It's tough. Everybody's out to get you. There are a lot of people who want to take your place. And it's weird because once you get to the top, you better enjoy it because you've got about 5-10 years. Some of the Roman emperors didn't last very long. It's like, please, I don't want to be emperor. So I don't know. Some people out here, I think they don't care that much about profits. They just want to live a nice life, however they define it. So yeah, I need X amount of money to pay my taxes and plant the seeds and harvest and whatever. Run my small business when I'm not working my land. And, take care of my family, friends, be a good neighbor. And it's the relationships and the experience of having a good life is more important than profits. So I'm not going to move to Portugal or Lisbon or go work in Berlin or London or go to Estados Unidos and make the big bucks. A lot of people, they go. This is one country where people go out to work and come back. And they're happy to be back. They're like, yeah, I was making money and I was doing pretty good, but man, I'm just glad to be home and having a peaceful life. How much do you need? But think of it this way: if there's a God and God created human beings like us, I don't think you're worth your salt as an omnipotent, all-knowing being if you create people like us who are so greedy and fallible and prone to misunderstanding everything and violent, crass, ugly, mean. We have the potential to be good, and most, of these myths that we live our life by, that we use as a foundation for our culture, is helpful. But why would God make a species that's going to trash their Eden? Just destroy it. Here are all the microbes and organisms, and mammals, and fish in the world to give you this beautiful, beautiful place to live. All these various niches in which you can survive. Near the golf course, in the desert in Nevada, or by the ski resort in Switzerland, and you'll survive because you can make your down jackets, have your watering systems, but then you just go off and kill it all. I mean, what kind of a joker? Think of God as Joker, who really just wants to see everybody as nothing because he's pissed off at how stupid and mean people are. What kind of a fucking God is that? What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? Well, define soul. What kind of world do you want to live in? Bom dia. What kind of world? That's Cujo back there. Big, huge Portuguese sheepdog. He looks like Cujo. All right, folks. William T. out.